Hey everyone, we are Dead here. Today I want to talk to you about one of the most exciting VR games that I've played recently, Vertigo 2. As you can imagine from the title, this is a sequel to the original Vertigo game, which came out almost 7 years ago. Vertigo 2 is nothing short of amazing. From the excellent writing to the endlessly creative gameplay, this game has everything that makes VR great again. Now, if you ask me to make a top 5 best VR game ever, I would probably put Vertigo 2 at number 1. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why, so stay with me and don't forget to hit the like button that YouTube algorithm loves so much. And me too, actually. So let's talk about the campaign. Vertigo 2 features a longer campaign compared to its predecessor, and I finished it in around 10 hours. Maybe if I consider my usual metric of a pound per hour of fun, that is a little bit short, but in these 10 hours there are a lot of cinematic moments, incredibly diverse array of enemies, countless of boss battles, and a lot of weapons to choose from. When you talk about parallel universes in general, the possibilities are endless, and Vertigo 2 campaign manages to keep a coherent storyline, even an incredibly creative element. Reminds me a bit of a Rick and Morty kind of story, but I guess it's, notable. The original Vertigo was heavily inspired by Half Life, but it came out before Half Life Alyx, and many years after, still competing with the Half Life Alyx is a big deal. And in my view, Vertigo 2 does an excellent job. Okay. Whoa! That's amazing! And this is a little bit a controversial moment. I think it is even better than Alyx in certain aspects, which I will tell you in a few moments. During my gameplay, I found many references to a plethora of games of the last 10 years of VR. I found mainly references to Half-Life, Portal, and other things. I won't spoil you in this video, but I was surprised how familiar some game design choices were, because basically they were taken from Half Life Alyx. However, they felt somehow improved. Okay, let's try this shotgun. Let me see, go here. A portal gun! Oh my god! I want! How can I get this? And only playing, you will realize that the developer has integrated the lessons learned from all those titles and gave it an amazing personal touch. Big shout to Zach Brown of Zulubo Productions, the indie studio behind this Vertigo 2. As someone without any talent, I'm very jealous about it. So in Vertigo 2, the story continues as you navigate Quantum Reactor 7 towards its core, while facing obstacles from otherworldly creatures and settings. The gameplay comprises a seamless blend of simple environmental puzzles, navigation, and combat, resulting in a satisfying and well-paced experience. Something I found a little bit frustrating perhaps sometimes is that there isn't any navigation or waypoints to guide the player, so the game uses environmental clues and spontaneous storytelling to lead the player from one area to the next. I admit that sometimes I struggled a bit with it, but it helped me explore the surroundings. And of course, I think it's probably more immersive. The combat is pretty good, and guns are among the most satisfying I've used in VR, striking a perfect balance between creativity, realism, and the engaging mechanics. You start with a classic plasma pistol, then gradually unlock Vertigo 2's sci-fi variation on the classic weapons like shotguns, revolvers, rifles, and railguns. Something perhaps to improve a bit is the weapon grabbing. In fact, I think in fast-paced situations, especially during boss battles, the inaccurate grabbing led to my death more than once, and sometimes I felt really frustrated. I mainly use the guns as a filthy casual, but I guess mastering a weapon would be the best, and I felt that it does have a certain learning curve. When aiming with each gun, the crosshair is unique and requires precise alignment between adjusting the shot angle. Each weapon has a specific sweet spot, as well as a distinct recoil and the weight distribution, which is pretty cool. Similar to Pavlov VR, the ammo system in this game is intuitive and allows for swift and accurate manual reloading, while also promoting frequent weapon swapping through a weapon wheel like Doom VFR, but without the slow motion. Each firearm has 3 magazines positioned at your hip, and the ammunition for each gun gradually replenishes over time. When you reload, the corresponding magazine begins to refill at a different rate for each weapon. The ammo slots for basic weapons like the plasma pistol refill almost instantly, and this means you've always got an available magazine to reload, making plasma pistol ammo near infinite. More impactful weapons will replenish ammo slower, encouraging you to shoot your shots and switch to a different gun while ammo replenishes. This system naturally encourages exploring all the game's weapons while also sparing the player from the tedium environmental ammo discovery and the menu-based inventory management. The process for manual reloading is also slightly different for each weapon, with the nuances that give another angle to master during combat. This is a strong VR campaign for solo players that surpasses being merely reminiscent of Valve's style.
What about the enemies?
Oh my god, the enemies! Vertigo 2 features a mind-boggling selection of enemy types. There are floating eyeballs, hyperactive cube-shaped robots with machine guns, cubes with asses, flaming lava rock aliens, dinosaurs, big and small, robot, mechs, you name it. Even the standard robot enemies come in creative variations such as fast-moving sniper bots or invisible ninja stealth bots or things like that. So the game really features a range of creative enemies, each requiring a unique strategic approach, often hinted in their visually striking design. And this is where I think Vertigo 2 beats Alyx, providing a greater diversity of combat scenarios than Valve's title. The progression also reminds me of a Zelda game when you start with the very easy enemies with predictable attack and you end up with the challenging foes that deliver complicated attack patterns. Overall, Vertigo 2 ensures that you are always on your toes thanks to the diverse range of enemy types and the gradual unlocking on new weapons and upgrades. The graphics. So on a visual level, Vertigo 2 is a huge step up from the original game and its remastered counterpart. Not just in terms of graphic itself, but also art style. You can still spot some very low quality texture that remind you that it's still an indie title, but it can defend itself very well, and I had several wow moments. Personally, I love the art style, for the environments to the enemies and the gun models. I was surprised by the scale and diversity of the environments. The game presents some dramatic vistas and physically huge areas across drastically different settings in each chapter. Some areas gave me the creeps and I had several jump scares, and I can't spoil it too much though. There were epic moments that I enjoyed a lot and I can't forget. Also, I found minor bugs, but none that prevented me from enjoying the game or advancing forward. And playing on a PC that falls well beyond the recommended specification, I found that the performance to be mostly solid at 90 FPS on max settings, with some hiccups perhaps during most intense sequences. My final verdict on this game: Vertigo 2 is hands down one of the best PCVR games released in recent years. It pays tribute to Valve's classics and other VR titles, but doesn't simply copy them. Instead, it uses those inspirations to forge its own path and deliver a satisfying and epic solo adventure. The outcome is a game with the stunning visual, awesome gunplay, and an endless supply of creativity in its game design and world building. For PCVR players seeking a top-notch single-player campaign in the style of Half Life Alyx, this game is a must-have. And that's all I had to say. So I hope you liked this video. Please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.